I was a girl who was brought up as the baby girl by her family. There was a 13-year age difference between me and my sister. My sister, Sevda, was 43 years old when this story began. She and her husband both worked in a bank where my brother-in-law was the manager. They called me a boat scrape, and because of this, I was brought up a bit spoiled. I was a 30-year-old brunette with a nicely shaped body, someone who was liked by the people around her. I understood. I got engaged and married my brother-in-law's nephew, Sally. I did not need to work because our financial situation was good. My husband was a banker at my brother-in-law's branch office. We had married 3 years ago, and we didn't have any children. We lived in a flat on the same floor with my sisters in an apartment complex. While my sister was at work, I took care of her 13-year-old daughter, Seda, and her 19-year-old son, Can. I cooked for them while I did my own housework. The first year of my marriage with my husband was fine, but the following years, his interest in me decreased. In the evenings, he would go to the coffee house or would go to the AstroTurf match that my brother-in-law also attended once a week, and sometimes we would go out for a walk, but I felt like something was missing inside me. But all of this was about to change. It was mid-June. I wore my blue floral print mini dress. The dress was slightly shorter than above the knee. As I looked at myself in the mirror, it suits my mocha-colored legs very well. Before I went to my sister's flat, I wanted to go to the market. Since the elevator was busy, I headed for the stairs. There was some paint work being done in the apartment building, and craftsmen were working at the bottom of the stairs. As I was descending from the top, I noticed that the middle-aged one heard voices and looked upwards. He could see everything through my short dress. It was obvious. I didn't speak up. I walked past them saying it would be easy. I had exhibitionism in my soul. I liked when men looked at me as if they were going to eat me. After the market, I went to my sister's house first. I went to Seda's room and hugged and kissed her. Then I went to Can's room. Can and our downstairs neighbor Emel's son, Furkan, were playing games on the computer. Furkan was 1 year older than Can. They were very good friends. They both took the university entrance exam and were waiting for the results. After greeting them, I went to the kitchen to prepare food. I placed Satan's food on the tray and took it to her room. Upon my return, I approached Can's room to ask if he and Furkan would like something to eat. The door was slightly ajar. They were sitting with their backs to me. Furkan said,
"Bro, the blonde wife in the next building is legend."
Can replied,
"You mean the blonde who lives on the second floor, right? That chick is married. As far as I know, she's like a stone. I saw her while I was working in gym. I think she's the prettiest wife in this building, bro."
Yes, she is good looking, and her body is nice. But she is not the most beautiful.
"You are dishonest, brother. Do not talk to my aunt again. You are sick."
How am I doing, dude? I've been in love with your aunt for a long time. I'm sick. I'm dying. If I get a chance, I'll hang, but I'm trembling. Look, who told me? How many times have you peeled corn thinking about your aunt?
If it weren't for the fact she was my own aunt, I would go crazy. Her stupid husband doesn't know the value of a woman. I heard her talking to my mother last month. My aunt was unhappy. If I had such a wife, I would fly her through the air and I would do whatever she wanted.
While we have this fortune, keep slapping the sergeant, bro. We went to the Horns in high school. It's the same now. Is there a girl who is from Occupid?
Not until now. I like what's in front of me, but there is no return yet, brother.
I slowly walked out of the room before they noticed me. I couldn't believe what I had heard. I was strangely excited. 2 teenagers were talking about me. I liked being sexy. I called Ken to come to the kitchen and eat. Furkan came first. His eyes were on me. I thought he liked and desired women nearby.
Aunt Cecil, how are you? Thank you for the meal.
I'm fine, dear. I'm doing well. Enjoy, I said, my tone sounding as if I was in a bad mood. Ken was still in the bathroom. Furkan asked,
Is there something bothering you? Can I help you?
Thanks, no, dear. When Ken came, they sat down to eat. I told them to be good and went to my flat. I immediately went to shower in the bathroom. In the evening, my husband came home from work. After we talked about how the day was, we watched some TV. Sally said he was tired and went to the bedroom, and I went to the kitchen to wash the dishes. It was 11:30. I went out to the balcony to have a cigarette. My favorite feature of our flat is the spacious balcony. It was like a semi-terrace. I lit my cigarette and stood looking into the distance. The front of the building was open because there was a ring road 500 meters ahead, so it was not blocked. When I got bored, I used to watch the cars passing by. Sometimes, I even sunbathed with the advantage of being on the top floor.
Did you have a whirlwind before sleep?
Someone called out from the side balcony. I turned and looked. Ken was on the balcony. I didn't realize he was there. "Oh, I didn't see you. Where did you come from?" I asked. He wanted a cigarette from me. I gave him one. I knew he was watching me. I knew it wasn't right for a married woman to provoke a man in front of him, even if it was her own nephew, but I couldn't help myself. I slowly swayed my hips back and forth. He could see my ass. What am I doing? I put out my cigarette and quickly said good night, going back inside. In the morning, after I sent my husband to work, I went jogging. I was wearing black running tights and a white t-shirt. When I got halfway around the track, I saw the blonde woman the kids were talking about yesterday. It was as they said. I nodded and continued running. Returning home, I entered the building, and Ken was waiting for the elevator with bags from the market.
Good morning. How are you, Auntie?
Good morning, dear. I'm fine. How are you? I answered. Ken said,
Good, Auntie. I guess you're coming home from working out.
The elevator came. Yes, dear. I'm trying to regain my form. I've put on some weight lately, and I need to lose it.
I think you are very fit and beautiful.
Ken replied, Thank you, handsome. See you soon, I said when we got to our floor and I went to my flat. After I finished my usual housework, I decided to enjoy a coffee on the balcony as the weather was nice. I took my phone and looked at social media for a bit. When Sally came home from work, I said, Let's do something tonight. Let's go to the shopping mall. I'm bored. We haven't done anything together lately, he said.
I must go to a match.
And left. It was like we had been married for 20 years. We were like those old married couples who had sex once a week, whereas I laid next to him every night wearing sexy nightgowns, trying to excite him. In bed, he didn't satisfy me either. I was saying to myself that I had married a pig of a man. Their match was going to end at midnight, so I poured myself a glass of wine and stretched my legs out on the chaise lounge on the balcony, listening to music on my mobile phone. 15 minutes passed. Ken came out to the balcony for a smoke. He noticed me and greeted me. It was dark, but there was a dim light from behind me. He could see my legs clearly through my striped nightgown. I was not bothered at all. I let him look, watching him shift his eyes from my face to my legs. He turned me on. I felt hot. On the balcony downstairs, neighbor Emil was sitting with his son, Firkin. When Ken saw them, he gestured to me with his hand. I shook my head to mean I knew and made a hush sign. He asked if I would run in the morning. I nodded again. I said around 9 o'clock. He said good night and entered home, smiling. The next morning, I dressed for running, but this time, I chose a regular soft one, not a sports bra. An old couple was walking on the track with me. When I passed them, I saw Ken sitting on the bench in the distance. I went towards him.
Good morning, my beautiful auntie. Can I accompany you?
He asked. Sure, let's run together, I said. When we were running together, I increased my speed and kept him behind so that he could follow my hips and ass comfortably. While walking at a light pace, we were talking about life and what he would do if he got into the university. He had a normal body for his age and was neither too muscular nor too skinny. He had become a young man who knew how to talk, telling very mature jokes, making me laugh. I enjoyed chatting with him. I was so sweaty when we entered the building that my t-shirt was soaking wet. In the elevator, he stood with his head bent forward, occasionally looking down at my slightly visible breasts. Our eyes met once or twice, but I didn't react. Encouraged, he continued to look at them. Turning him on made my heart flutter. I thanked him for accompanying me and told him that we should do it again sometime.
You're welcome to call whenever you want.
He said it was really hot and stifling in the air that day. While I was preparing dinner in the kitchen in the evening, the smell of hookah wafted in from outside. During my university time, we used to go to cafes with friends and smoke. I lifted my head slightly from the door and looked left and right. Ken was enjoying a hookah. He hadn't noticed me as I came back inside. I went to the bedroom, took off my bra, and put on a V-neck blouse. My intention was to provoke him a little more. It sounded like a game, but I liked it. When I went out to the balcony, I acted a little surprised. "Oh, you are enjoying this world?"
Come, let's have fun together.
"My dear, I would love to, but another time, it's late. Sally will be coming home soon," I said.
Shit, I would have done it sooner had I known, but the hose pipe goes there.
He said and brought the bottle closer to the balcony wall. After I bent down and checked to see if there was anyone downstairs, I stretched out my hand and leaned forward. When I took the lance in my hand and started pulling, he could see my bare breasts inside my blouse. How would he know that his aunt was showing off her breasts on purpose? Maybe it was his first time to see a woman this close to her naked breasts. After taking a few tokes, I handed it back to him. The next day at noon, I went to my sister's flat again to take care of the children. Ken and Firkin were playing games in the room as usual. I knocked on the door and entered. Ken's eyes especially were shining. I greeted them and went to the kitchen, prepared food and left. Sitting on my balcony, I looked at the app the young people were talking about the other day. I thought of reaching out to Ken in this way, pretending to be a stranger without revealing who I was. He would have confidence in himself and I would have had fun. After downloading the application, I added a photo or two that did not show my face to my profile. I found Ken while looking at the pictures of the closest candidates. I liked his profile and closed the application. There was a password on my phone, but I hid the application in the files just in case. After 15 or 20 minutes, I received a message from the application on my phone. Ken liked me and sent a message.
Hello, how are you?
T. Hanks, you. We started texting. I told him my name was Sevgi, I was a 30-year-old married woman, but I was unhappy with my husband. I told him that I was looking for a friend because of loneliness, and Ken was telling me about his life. I said that if he didn't text me in the evening, we could talk during the day. He accepted, saying,
Of course.
We texted each other for about 2 days. I was surprised that he couldn't find a girlfriend. He was responding to my texts very well and intelligently. I was back in my high school years. I tried to gradually bring the subject to sex. He told me that he was with a prostitute only once, that he did not have a girlfriend. I said that my husband could not satisfy me, that I was unhappy in bed as a woman. It was good for me to talk about these issues with someone, even if it was my own nephew. I asked if we could send a picture from private in this application. He described how to do it for me. I sent him photos that I would not have sent to anyone else. I wrote that he deserved to see this. He wrote,
Wow,
and replied with a smile. He asked for my mobile number. He wanted to hear my voice. I said I had to hang up, maybe tomorrow. The next day, I went to a phone shop and bought myself a new line. After I had a private number made, I inserted the card in an old phone at home and sent a message to Ken. Now we were messaging through another application during the day. I had removed the friendship application. I wasn't using it. I was sending him my pictures of bikinis and miniskirts. I was making him even more crazy. My relationship with my husband continued in its normal routine, but when we were making love, I was imagining I was with Kenso. I was enjoying. Everything was a game, but this game connected me to life. Now, my love and sweet correspondence had begun. During the day, normal life continued. The aunt and nephew relationship was the same. When we talked, I was asking if he had a girlfriend. Ken also said that he didn't have a girlfriend, but that he liked someone. Everything was going well until one afternoon when he said he wanted to meet up. Maybe he would have been disappointed when he saw that it was me. I had to try to delay this meeting. On Friday evening, a relative of brother-in-law Halil, his uncle, passed away. My sister, Hallel, and Sally were going to go to their village together for the funeral. They would return on Sunday evening. I was going to look after the children because they did not want to go. The three of them left after dinner. I had an idea on Saturday afternoon. I was going to invite Can to a club this evening, but he wouldn't be able to come because he couldn't leave his sister alone. I immediately wrote a message that my husband had to go on a business trip this evening and we could meet at night. He wrote that he would try to arrange it, as he definitely wanted to see me. In the evening, Ken asked me,
Auntie, can you take care of Seda tonight? I'm going out with friends and I'll be late.
I said, my dear, I can never hurt you, but you are entrusted to me. I can't let you go. You will go when your parents come home. He was depressed, his face fell, but my plan had worked. I left them at around 10 o'clock and went home. I started to get ready. Even if he couldn't come, I would have a drink or two and come back home. It would be a change of scenery for me as well. I wore a black, low-cut mini dress. I finished my makeup and got in the car. It was midnight. I liked the way the men around me looked at me while I sipped my beer at the club. I was dancing along with the songs. One of the waiters even brought champagne from the next table, but I refused to accept it. I sent a message to Ken and took a picture of the place. You did not come, and they'll get me soon, I wrote. I was at the peak of my joy when the song of my favorite artist came on. At that moment, I was shocked when someone hugged my belly. It was Can.
Friends, this story should serve as an example for you of how to keep your heart unbroken. What would you have done in the protagonist's shoes? I'm interested in your opinion in the comments. Subscribe to the channel to know everything about real strong love, so that your second chaff doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think about listening to the next one.